The following is a live presentation of Retro Sports Network, home of the champions of the past, present, and or future. Because yesterday's stream ran so long, we ran 3 hours yesterday. We did not get to the summary of Sunday the 9th's game. So let's do that right now before we set up our next game in our replay. At Three River Stadium, Cincinnati beat Pittsburgh 6-3. McRae goes to 3-1. Vogelsong 0-1. Ken Griffey Jr. 3 for 5 with a double. Expos beat the Phils 6-5 and 10. Scanlon 1-2. Cook 0-1. Jose Vidro 5 for 6, his 11th of the year, and drives in 3. Toronto over Detroit 9-4. Carpenter 11-10. Corneo 0-3. Stewart goes 3 for 5. There's a whole bunch of highlights in. I don't want to miss any of them. The White Sox beat the Indians 5-3. Mark Burnley 15-8. Danny Baez takes his first loss. He's 6-1. Royce Clayton 2 for 3 and 2 doubles. And we'll spoil it for you. The White Sox also won on September 10th. The Red Sox and the Yankees went 15 in the game you saw here on Retro Sports Network. The Red Sox pound out 18 hits, and the Yankees strike out 16 times. And Alan McDill, I'm not even sure a household name in his own household, got the win to go 1-0. Ted Lilly, coming out of the pen for the first time all year, takes a loss 7-4. Lou Merloni, 4 for 8. Imagine that, 8 times up, and hits a double. The Cardinals beat the Dodgers 9-3. Matt Moore is 14-6. Terry Mulholland falls to 2-1. Sean Green goes 4 for 4 and hits his 44th of the year. In Houston, Roy Oswalt strikes out 11 through 8, only allows 3 hits, and picks up his 9th win as the Astros beat the Brewers 9-1. Oswalt 9-3. D'Amico 1-4. Richard Hidalgo 1 for 3, his 13th, and drives in 2. The Braves beat the Cubs 4-3. Kevin Millwood 7-6. Jason Beret 6-6. John Smoltz picks up his 8th save for the Braves. Kansas City, behind 18 hits, beats Texas in 13 innings 11-9. Mullen 1-0. Pat Mahomes, his kid is interested in football, oh, by the way, goes to 3-7. Raul Ibanez 3 for 6, his 19th of the year, and drives in 2. San Francisco strikes out Colorado batters 15 times and doubles them 12-6. Jason Schmidt goes to 3-3. Scott Ellerton 0-1. John Dunston hits 2 homers, goes 3 for 5. He now has 11 and drives in 4. The Mariners are red hot. They have won 10 straight. John Olerud, a 4-hit day and a home run as they beat Baltimore 13-2. Jamie Moyer 15-7. Josh Towers falls to 16-10. Tampa all over Oakland 13-2. Tanyan Sturts, hey, even a broken clock is right twice a day. Sturts goes to 2-16. Tim Hudson falls to 18-8. Gomez 2 for 3, his 8th of the year, and 2 RBI. Anaheim beats Minnesota 9-4. Jared Washburn 11-9. Eric Milton falls to 10-15. Buchanan 2 for 3, his 11th of the year, and drives in 2. Marlins 5-1 over the Mets. Matt Clement 7-6. Steve Trashel 8-9. Cliff Floyd 2 for 3, his 33rd of the year, and steals a base. The Mets are 11.5 out. The Diamondbacks pound San Diego. Louis Gonzalez, his 50th of the year. Arizona 16 hits. Miguel Batista 8-4. Jones falls to 4-3. Matt Williams 3 for 5 with a double. And there were games on September 10th. And you know what happened next. And so baseball, along with pretty much everything, stopped for a week. And we're not going to dwell on that. We actually will have the Braves-Mets. The Mike Piazza game would be a Friday game. It won't be this week. It'll be sometime next week. But we will do that game for you. And so we pick up the replay when baseball resumed on Monday, the 17th of September, 2001, with everything just kind of changed a bit. Again, really don't want to dwell too much on it. Bullpens got a week to rest. and we had a time to reflect. And so starting on the 17th and running actually for the next 3 weeks, it really was crunch time. We added a week to the season. The season should have been over September 30th. Will end October 7th before we get in the playoffs. So there's about 1, 2, 3 weeks left to go in the year. And there's going to be some double headers crunched up the last week of the year just because of how things were there. We actually lost 6 days of the season, and you had to make them all up. So, again, we resume on September 17th, and a big one in Philadelphia, the Braves and the Phillies. Now, they're all fighting Florida for first place. The Braves are 3.5 back of Florida as baseball resumes. The Phillies are 3 back of Florida. And if you're looking at a wild card, Arizona is 3 on top of Philly and 4 on top of Atlanta. It's a decent pitching matchup today. It'll be Greg Maddux in person. Maddux 10-8, person 12-10. And so as we get back down to business, actually there are no American League games on the 17th. So it's all National League. As we get back to it, we really now are in the pennant chase in the National League East. It's 3 games between Florida and Philly, 3.5 between Florida and Atlanta. In the National League West, it's 4.5 between San Francisco and Arizona. And in the American League East, it's 1 game between the Yankees and the Red Sox. We'll get to the rest of the standings and between the innings in the 4th. But for now, the Braves and the Phils play ball. As Retro Sports Network presents 2001 in Action PC Season Odyssey. Tonight, from Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, it is the Philadelphia Phillies and the Atlanta Braves. And tonight's game is brought to you by DigitalDice.com, the best darn podcast on the web for your sports simulation and replay needs. Find us today on Spotify, Spreaker, iTunes, or wherever else fine podcasts are listed. So how you doing, Tribe fan, and how you doing, Bernie? Robert Person gets the call for the Phils. He is 12-10 with a 4.15 ERA. And in this 3-week sprint to the finish, he's going to make 3 more starts. He is 31 years old, fastball at 92, and a fly ball pitcher. He last pitched on the 6th, so he's going on 11 days rest. He no-hit the Expos on July 25th. How about that? It was not a perfect game. He walked a batter. The Expos got back on him September 6th on a 12-4 victory for Montreal, 5 1/3, 109 pitches, 6 hits, 9 runs. Bad fielding behind him. Only 4 earned. He gave up 5 home runs. He walked 4 while striking out 5. So for Person, kind of a magic year, a no-hitter and all that. 182 innings, 147 hits, 92 runs, 84 earned. He has allowed 28 home runs. He's walked 70 and 155 strikeouts. Yep, how you doing, Big Dave? And yesterday was Rachel Robinson's 101st birthday. What a national treasure she is. My goodness. So, anyway, here's a lineup for Atlanta. Marcus Giles at second will lead off. Julio Franco at first will bat second. Chipper Jones at third will bat third. Brian Jordan in right will clean up. B.J. Surhoff in left will bat fifth. Andrew Jones in center goes sixth. Sanchez at short will bat seventh. And because it's a Greg Maddux game, Paul Bacco behind the plate. Maddux with 110 pitches will bat ninth. Defensively for the Phillies, in a decent-sized crowd here at the Vet, a beautiful night, by the way, Pat Burrell, a 4 and an 8 in the left, Doug Glanville, a 7 and a 5 in center, but we really know he's a 1 in all of our hearts. Bobby Abreu, a 5 and an 8 in right, Scott Rowland is a 10 at third, Jimmy Rollins a 5 at short. Marlon Anderson a 6 at second. Travis Lee a 7 at first. And Estrada a 5 and a 4 behind the plate. Person, who I don't think we've had on in the stream, is an 8 with a 1,000 fielding percentage. If we go 3 hours today, I'm eating my hat. Marcus Giles at 250, 6 homers and 21 RBI. And this one starts with a chopper right back to Person. Throws to Lee for the out. On June 2nd, 2002, Robert Person would hit 2 home runs in a game, a grand slam, and a 3-run homer. So a pitcher driving in 7, hitting 2 home runs. Can you imagine if that was against like Don Drysdale or Bob Gibson? He would have needed to have gone into the Eagles' locker room at that point and put on some pads and a helmet. Julio Franco at 289, no homers and 4 RBI. Got him. He swung on and missed a 1-2 change, 2 out for Chipper. Larry at 311, 25 homers and 91 RBI. Game 145 for the Phils and 144 for the Braves. They've hit their gross. So 18 games left for Atlanta, and they have 3.5 games to make up on the Marlins. And for the Phils, they're 3 out of first place. Pitch to Chipper. Ball 4, and Chipper draws the walk. So a 2-out walk. Full count fastball just missed low and in. Here's Brian Jordan. Brian at 283, 15 homers and 64 RBI. Tribe fan has been listening to too many of my streams. The home runs were off Britt Reames. Reames, and Tim adds, not sure he's a household name in his own household. I would think I've never heard of him, but that doesn't mean much. And Bruce Chen, who I certainly have heard of. Pitch to Jordan. Line drive to Rollins, and Jimmy makes the catch, and that will retire the side. No runs, no hits, a runner left on, no errors. Half an inning in the books, no score. And so Greg Maddux, making his 31st start of the year, he will make 3 more down the stretch. He is 10-8 with a 2.71 ERA. Greg is 35 years old. Throws a Bugs Bunny fastball at 82. They say it's a changeup, and he's an extreme ground ball pitcher. He last pitched 10 days ago, a no decision against the Cubs. 6 innings and a 5-3 loss, 82 pitches, 7 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned, a home run, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. So 205 2/3 for Maddux. 194 hits, 69 runs, 62 earned, 20 homers, 28 walks, and 160 strikeouts. And I suppose if you needed anyone to thread a needle and then find it in a haystack, it is Maddux. The lineup he'll face as the Philly fans show up in force in the chat. Jimmy Rollins leads off at short. Doug Glanville in center will bat second. Bobby Abreu in right will go third. Scott Rowland cleans up at third. Marlon Anderson in second, batting fifth. Pat Burrell in left goes sixth. Travis Lee at first, batting seventh. Johnny Estrada, I think, behind the plate goes eighth. And Robert Person on the mound threw 15 pitches in his half of the first and will bat ninth. Defensively for Atlanta, B.J. Surhoff a 4 and a 4 in left. Andrew Jones a 10 and a 6 in center. Brian Jordan a 7 and a 9 in right. Chipper Jones a 3 at third. Sanchez is a 7 at short. Marcus Giles, Tim's brother, is a 4 at second. Julio Franco is a 5 at first. Paul Bacco a 4 and a 5 behind the plate. And Mr. Golden Glove himself, Maddux, is a 10 on the mound with a .986 fielding percentage. Rollins at 265, 10 homers and 55 RBI. And he slaps out one between Giles and Franco for a base hit. So Rollins with good speed, and first for Doug Glanville at 271, 18 homers and 69 RBI. Maddox throws to first. Rollins is back. John says, Tribe fan, I remember exactly where I was when Robert Person hit those 2 home runs. I was in a Target parking lot waiting for your wife. The question is, was she your wife then? Pitch to Glanville. Doug hits a ground ball to short, should be 2. Sanchez to Giles for 1, over to Franco for 2. So 6-4-3 on the double play, 2 out for Abreu. Bobby at 253, 30 homers and 94 RBI. 2 out, Maddox deals. Ground ball to Giles. Marcus behind the bag throws to first, and that will retire the side. Maddox 11 pitches to get out of the first inning. After 1, no score. Tribe fan response, I think I saw it in either Baseball Tonight or Sports Center. MLB Tonight doesn't hold a candle to Baseball Tonight. The fall of ESPN. They'll make some very interesting reading. BJ Surhoff will lead us off here in the second. BJ at 263, 13 homers, and 54 RBI. Person deals. Surhoff, slow ground ball to Rollins. J-Roll on the run, 1 out. Brings up Andrew Jones at 259, 35 homers, and 86 RBI. The Braves and Phils, remember, not only watching what the Marlins do, but what the Diamondbacks do. So they chase each other, they chase the Marlins, and they are chasing the Diamondbacks. Struck him out. Got him on a 1-2 change. 2 out for Ray Sanchez over from Kansas City. So if you ever see that an immaculate grid between KC and the Braves, Ray Sanchez is the right answer. He's at 227, no homers and 4 RBI. 2 out, Person deals. Ground ball to Rollins. Jimmy's been busy. Over to Lee, and that will retire the side. No runs, no hits, no errors. Bottom of the second here at the Vet, no score. I gotta wonder, as Scott Rowland digs in at 308, 25 homers, and 119 RBI. Those are Hall of Fame numbers, by the way. That when I say at the Vet, at home, if you're listening, do your pets cringe when that is said? Pitch to Rowland. Ground ball to Maddox, third base side of the rubber, over to Franco for the out. 1 out for Marlon Anderson, 286, 3 homers and 32 RBI. There's a base hit into right field for a single, and that's a second hit for the Phils. How you doing, Mike from the truck? Pat Burrell is at 258, 18 homers and 85 RBI. Ground ball to first. Franco. Sanchez for 1. Back to Franco, and it's a 3-6-3 double play. It is a Greg Maddux effort so far. No runs, a hit, no errors. We go to the third here in Philadelphia, no score. So Bacco, Maddox, and Giles to face Robert Person. Maddox through 2 has thrown all of 19 pitches. Bacco at 208, 2 homers, and 10 RBI. Struck him out. That's 3 for Person. A 1-2 fastball swung on and missed. Brings up Greg Maddux hitting 200 with 4 RBI. Line drive to third. Rowland is there. And there's 2 out. So the opening 9 for Person, 31 pitches, 2 2/3, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. Marcus Giles is 0 for 1. At dinner last night, I bit my cheek, and it still hurts. Pitch to Giles. There's a line drive to third. Rolling leaps and makes a fantastic catch. No runs, no hits, no errors. We go to the bottom of the third. No score. So Lee, Estrada, and Person to face Maddox here in the third. Travis at 273. 27 homers and 82 RBI. There's a line drive, right center field. That's going to drop for a single. And that'll bring up Johnny Estrada. Johnny at 215, 10 home runs and 32 RBI. Third hit for the Phils. Struck him out. On the 0-2. So they're going to bunt here with Person. Robert at 152. 2 homers and 6 RBI. Thank you. My batteries are here for the chair. Wow, that was fast. All right, so Person at the plate. He's going to square. Lee on first. Person squares, drops it down. Maddox goes to Sanchez for the out at second. So it's 1-6 on the fielder's choice. 2 out. And that's why Maddox has 18 gazillion gold gloves. Jimmy Rollins singled to start the ball game. Maddox opening 9, 27 pitches, 2 2/3, 3 hits and a strikeout. Struck him out. So Maddox doing pretty good himself. No runs, 1 hit, no errors. We go to the fourth here at the Vet. No score. So Franco, Jones, and Jordan to face Person here in the fourth. So I was reading the other day on one of the 18 gazillion Facebook groups I belong to, sports broadcasters. Don't know if Mike from the truck is still here. And so someone wrote on a blog, now this actually makes sense, that let's say the first 500 broadcasts you do, you're trying to get all the formatics right and all that, make sure you're directing, doing it correctly and pronouncing all the names and biting your tongue when you need to bite your tongue. And then the next 500 broadcasts that you do, that you develop your own style, and it really takes, according to this person, about 1,000 broadcasts to get it about right. What are your thoughts about that, gang? Franco was struck out his first time up, ground ball right side. There goes the no-hitter. Abreu picks it up, throws it in, and the old man is on with the single. Here's Chipper Jones. Chipper walked his first time up. So that means you got Tribe fans about 600 more to go. I would think that 500 is a pretty big number. Depends on the talent, but yes, okay. So according to Social Blade, I should have this figured out. I'm about 1,250 in. I'm curious as to why. Jones walked his first time up. Chipper struck him out. That's 4 for Person. He swung at a bad pitch. So Brian Jordan is 0 for 1. Franco on first. 1 out, top the fourth. No score. Jordan hits a liner into left center field. That's going to drop for a hit. Burrow will pick it up. Franco, who has my speed, will stop at second. So first and second, one out for B.J. Surhoff, who's 0 for 1. Into center. Glanville going back, makes the catch. Franco will hold, 2 out. I would say, and again, I'm some dude calling fake games on the internet. Andrew Jones struck out his first time up. I could see where it might take a couple seasons, depending on the sport, the first year that you're calling, let's say, soccer or basketball or whatever, just to get the rules right. You work through most of the common stuff, and to feel comfortable with having someone talk in your ear, especially on television. And then the second year, there's a comment. I'll read that in a second. The second year, you just kind of are more comfortable with whatever it is that you're calling, and then you can become more yourself. So first and second, 2 out. Andrew Jones this time around. Fly ball, left center field. Glanville moving over, and he will make the catch to retire the side. After 3.5, no runs, 2 hits, no errors. The Braves have a couple hits. They've left on 3, no score. Mike says, before we go to the standings, unforeseen things happened. Oops. You need to be extremely comfortable with yourself, understanding of the game, the players involved, the rules, all this while developing your style and how you grew with your other talent. That's true. And Bernie says the people that follow me, or Dave Gardner, now Red Sox fan, have a shorter learning curve by listening to your broadcast. I'm going to argue that just a little bit, because I think Mike's next point is pretty good, but you're going to have to wait because we're going to do the standings here. So remember, we haven't played anything in a week. So as America resumes, the Marlins a 3-game lead over the Phillies and 3.5 over Atlanta. In the Central Division, it's pretty much Houston's. They have an 11-game lead over Chicago, 12 over St. Louis. National League West, San Francisco by 4.5 over Arizona. In the East, in the American League, the Yankees a 1-game lead over the Red Sox. In the Central, Chicago, by the way, beat Cleveland on that Monday the 10th. So it's an 8-game lead again. And in the West, Seattle is white hot. They're 98-46, with the lead over Oakland is only 5 games. So Oakland and Seattle, if they haven't clinched a playoff spot, they will shortly. And so the East and the Central in the American League really are one spot only. Arizona has a lead of 2 over the Cubs and looking 2.5 over Philadelphia and St. Louis and 3 over Atlanta. Mike continues to say, depends on the crew involved, director, producer, technology. Tech changes the way things are done. Change situation is very fluid. Troy Aikman went from a network to A to network B and didn't understand how to use a telestrator with different technology and got lost at first. Going from Fox to ESPN, and that's even with his own director with him, right? I will say the first couple times that I've worked with Mike, and again, not at all Mike's fault. Not at all Mike's fault. I had never worked with anybody in my ear before. Glanville, by the way, is 0 for 1, grounding into a double play. Batting starts the 4th with a ground ball right side. Oh, the director was different? Okay. And Jordan bobbles it. Will Glanville go for 2? Yes, he will. So it's going to be a single and error. And Glanville, with good speed, is on second with nobody out for Bobby Abreu, who's 0 for 1. And so, although we got very slow and rudimentary directions, networks have their own people. I knew that, wasn't sure who else went over with Buck and Aikman. Unless it's a freelance gig, and Monday Night Football is not a freelance gig. Anyway, the slow and clear directions I got in from Mike from the truck when we showed off Pro Strategy Football. I gotta tell you, it's distracting to have someone do that to you. You're in the middle of a thought, and remember, Al, Dave, and I tend to, when we do these, work alone. And so you have a thought in your head, pitch to Abreu. There's a fly ball in the right field. That's going to drop in front of Jordan. Glanville will round third. Jordan has a good arm, and Glanville's going to respect it. So it's runners on the corners, nobody out for Roland. Yep, and again, and Mike makes the point, talking in an ear is normal. You need to get used to it. You understand that because in a real broadcast situation, they're going to tell you information that someone's bringing up from the sidelines, or what replay you're going to use, or how long you had to the commercial, or how long you're coming out of the commercial, and all that. Read the promo. Remember, her father is the district attorney. That's right, and that's what Mike from the truck does now. He does it every day to an anchor while reading a script on the air to tell him which camera to look at and all that. And do you pump in questions via the IFB as well? Especially if you have to interview somebody or that. And so it's a necessary evil. We try to time it when it's the least, disgrading is not the word, and I can't think of the right word. Anyway, Roland is 0 for 1. Distracting, that's the word I think we were trying to get out. First and third, Maddox deals. Roland slaps this one down to Chipper. Glanville will score. Giles, they get Abreu for 1. Roland's going to reach on the fielder's choice. I think Abreu took him out, and he did, and the Phillies go up 1-0 here in the fourth. Marlon Anderson singled his first time up. The producer normally does that, but sometimes, because you're a director, will have to intervene in certain situations. And the other thing, Bernie, Roland not going to steal here. He has 17 on the season. Marlon Anderson, 1 for 1. Is that we control the tempo of the games. As someone who's covered sports, it's amazing once you get into an arena, or once you're there to watch something, even baseball, before the pitch clock, just how fast it goes. Pitch to Anderson. Struck him out. That's 3 for Maddox. An 0-2 changeup on the inside corner. So 2 out for Burrell, who's 0 for 1, grounding into a double play. And so, all right, thanks, Tim. He's going to go back to work. So, yeah, to get used to everything that you need to do a game broadcast, I could see where you could get up to a pretty high number. Rolling back from the throw from Maddox. Remember Elin Olaf? Pitch to Burrell. Pat, ground ball to short. Sanchez has it over to Franco for the out, and that will retire the side. However, the Phillies get a run on 2 hits and an error. The error is costly. After 4, 1-0 Phils. Well, you're welcome, Dave. Says, fascinating conversation. It's great to get behind the scenes. Since I left the world of professional sports, I miss all. What'd you do, Dave? The 90-hour work weeks during the season. I timed myself 1 week when I was writing for the Nationals. Bernie says it took him almost 3 months to get enough confidence to go live. And it was a 30-hour-a-week job just to do that, and that was in the off-season. Sanchez 0 for 1. Ground ball to Person. Robert throws it over to Lee, and Sanchez is out on a bang-banger. So here's Paul Bacco. He is 0 for 1 with a strikeout. And I would think it would be a lot harder in sports because very rarely do you have, unless you are a top-rung announcer, and I'm talking Jim Nantz, and even Nantz has gone through some transition the last couple of years, or Joe Buck, or Chris Fowler, of working with the same partners every year. Baco, fly ball, left field, Burrell will go over and make the catch. 2 out for Maddox, who's 0 for 1. Vice president of a venue and 4 professional teams that played there. Wow, in Rochester, I'm assuming. That's cool. And very tiring. So if you look at someone like Jim Nantz, person deals, Maddox pops it up, Estrada doffs the mask, Greg just kind of jogs down to first, and that's out of play, 0-2. You could tell when Phil Simms went to the NFL today how much having Tony Romo energized Jim Nantz. And around the same time, Jim Nantz went from having Clark Kellogg as his, or Billy Packer as his basketball analyst, to Grant Hill and Bill Raftery. Again, fantastic analyst, but it takes time to gel, and you're doing it during the Final Four, for crying out loud. And, of course, this year in golf, with the retirement of Sir Nick Faldo, who will be on NBC's coverage this week at the British Open, to Trevor Ibbleman and how that all works. Bernie says, what I've learned in the short time you've done this is you're going to make mistakes. Oh, we do all the time. You just have to acknowledge the error and laugh it off. Pitch to Maddox. Struck him out. So halfway home on a beautiful day here in Burlington, Phillies 5. Phillies seat just like that, Bernie. Phillies 1, Braves nothing. Hey, join us late. Here's how he got here. 1-0 Phils here halfway home on September 17th, 2001. Scott Rowland, a fielder's choice. That's the only run of the ball game. Jimmy Rollins now has an 11-game hitting streak. He singled in the first. So Greg Maddux, 4 innings, 5 hits, and a run, and 3 strikeouts. Robert Person pitching to Jim, 2-hitter through 5. He's walked 1 and struck out 5. And so I think for those of us who are solo warriors doing this, you just try to go with what you think is best. And your audience will let you know whether they like it or not. Travis Lee singled his first time up. But at any time you add a layer of, let's say, another person or someone over you to help, it just adds to that complexity. Plus, you're in a high wire act. I don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen, and you got to adjust on the fly to what is going on. Pitch to Lee. Fly ball, right field. Jordan going back, and Travis Lee has homered. It's 2-0 Phillies. So a big one for the Phils. That's the 6th hit Max is allowed, and Lee just kind of smashed this one to right over the football seats. To make it a 2-run ball game. We haven't even talked about how much prep work the pros do going into a football game. It's not just the 3 hours on Sunday or even flying in the day before to talk to coaches. You're watching game film, trying to figure out what they're going to do and what they're not going to do, keep up with all the news from the league. you never know, and I don't know if Mike is still here, what's going to come up during the game. And you got to be knowledgeable to talk about it. Johnny Estrada struck out his first time up. Pitch to Johnny. Ground ball to third. Chipper over to Franco for the out. And so there's one out, 2-0 Phils, 2-6-0 for Philly. With 2 left on, no runs, 2 hits and error for Atlanta, and they've left on 3. Bernie's 1950 replay continues on his YouTube channel about 1:30. And hopefully it's not a 3-hour game. Robert Person is 0 for 1. Got him. That's 4 for Maddox, an 0-2 changeup. Got him looking 2 out. So Maddox, 18 batters, 4 2/3, 65 pitches, 6 hits. The home run a moment ago to Lee, and 4 strikeouts. Both of the runs are earned. Okay. Jimmy Rollins, 1 for 2. He has singled and struck out. Toss in a rain delay or some kind of weather disturbance, need a lot of filler. Oh, absolutely. If you want to know how to handle pressure when the whole world is kind of going off around you, go watch the video of how Al Michaels handled the earthquake in San Francisco. Pitch to Rollins. Jimmy flies this one to center. Andrew Jones going back. Is he going to make it? No, that is gone. The wind's blowing out to left center at 4. Not really all that much, and J-Roll just kind of smashed it. His 11th of the year. And it's 3-0 Philadelphia. That was a wild experience. And you are taught to keep going. So Maddox has given up now 22 homers and 210 in the third innings. Phillies have 2 here on the board here in the 5th. Here's Glanville. Doug has singled. Scored. Was 1 for 2. I was in my college suite lounge watching that. So much unknown. And again, that's training for you. And I guess McCarver had such good training with the Mets, because he did play-by-play for them. He was part of their rotation. And I think just had the easier role working with Michaels, who was the pro's pro, and Jim Palmer, who was pretty good on his own right. Pitch to Glanville. There's a ground ball to Sanchez. Ray picks it up, throws to first for the out. And so after 5, 2 solo homers, 1 for Rollins, 1 for Travis Lee. We go to the 6th here at the vet, 3-0 Philly. So 18 batters deep for Person, 69 pitches, 5 innings, 2 hits, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. I believe those games are still on YouTube. I've watched the clip recently. It's just a master class of how to handle that. Giles is 0 for 2. Lines this one foul, third base side. 2-2 the count. Person deals. Struck him out. Gotten him to swing and miss on a 2-2 curve. 1 away for Franco, who had the first hit for Atlanta in the 4th. He's 1 for 2. He is singled and struck out. I find the tougher games to do are the blowouts, because you still got to focus on the game. And after a while, the chat goes quiet, but you got to keep talking. It doesn't matter if it's 46-0 or 3-3. You kind of have to treat it the same with basics. Pitch to Franco. Ground ball right side. Abreu will pick it up, and that's the 3rd hit for the Braves and the 2nd for Julio. Here's Chipper. He struck out and walked. He's 1 for 1. I mean, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Poor Pat Summerall and John Madden. Well, their first Super Bowl together was pretty good. That was Cincinnati and San Francisco. But they had some clunkers in the mid-'80s, and so you got 100 million people to watch, and you're trying to be entertaining, and essentially the game is over. Pitch to Jones. Right back to Person. Goes to Anderson for one, and Jones is going to reach as the throw back to first is late. So Chipper reaches on the fielder's choice, 2 out. Brian Jordan is 1 for 2. Brian has himself a single. Person deals. Fly ball center field. Glanville should track this down, and that will retire the side. Yeah, another master class in sports broadcasting. How do you handle a blowout? Anyway, no runs, a hit, and no errors. After 5.5, it's 3-0 Phils. So Maddox comes out to pitch the bottom of the 6th. It'll be Abreu, Rowland, and Anderson. Abreu 1 for 2 with a single. Little ground ball to Giles. Marcus in on the plastic, throws to Franco, and Abreu, who does have speed, is retired. 1 out for Rowland, who does have an RBI, and is 0 for 2. Oh, Jim McKay. In the 72 Munich Olympics, when we lost the Israeli Olympic team, Jim tells the story better than I will tell Jim's story. Pitch to Rowland. There's a ground ball left side base hit. It was McKay's off day at the Olympics. Chris Schenkel was ABC's anchor. So it was McKay's off day. And he had gone for an early morning swim. Rowland now, by the way, is a 14-game hitting streak. Marlon Anderson, 1 for 2. He is singled and struck out. And Ruin Arledge, who was speaking of master producers, was ABC's producer at those Olympics because he was the president of ABC Sports. Calls Jim's hotel room, and Jim's wife answers the phone and says, what's going on? And Jim's got to go to work. Well, they get Jim out of the pool, stay on the air for the better part of 9 hours, and Jim delivers the news. And Mike from the truck says, yep, McKay said Cronkite sent him a telegram telling me they did a good job. I think from all the things that Jim McKay did on television, I think that's his proudest piece of memorabilia. So at 11:30 or the wee hours in the next morning, because of the time difference, pitch to Anderson. There's a little looper in the left field. Surhoff will pick it up. Rowland will hold at second. So first and second, 1 out. Oh, yeah, there's some great YouTube clips on that. So here's Burrell, Pat 0 for 2. He is grounded into a double play. I believe it was a telegram. He might have called. Certainly CBS had the money to call. I believe it is a telegram. So after this horrible event happens, and McKay handled it so well, he gets back to his hotel room and goes to undress to go for his 3 hours of sleep before the service the next day or whatever it was, and realized that his wet trunks were still on. Imagine having enough, your focus is so much that I've done some games with some rain-soaked pants, and it's rather nasty and distracting. But yeah, imagine that. Mike, you might be right. It might have been a phone call, but Cronkite reached out to him nonetheless. Pitch to Burrell. Base hit left side. Rowland might round third. Surhoff has an average arm. Rowland has decent speed, and everyone's going to hold. So runners all over. That's a 10th hit for the Phils. Travis Lee homered his last time up. He now has 28 on the replay and has driven in 83. So Rolen on third, Anderson on second, Burrell on first. This would be a big one for the Phils. The Braves can't get the first place if they don't beat the Phillies. Struck him out. My goodness, a 1-2 changeup at 72 miles an hour. And he chased it. Greg Maddux is still Greg Maddux. So 2 out for Estrada, who is 0 for 2 with the strikeout. Maddux is now fan 5. Base hit left field. Rolen will score. Surhoff picks it up. Anderson's going to round third. Surhoff's throw is going to go into third base, and it's 5-0 Philadelphia. So Robert Person, who's only thrown 84 pitches through 6, has been staked to a 5-run lead. He is 0 for 2 with the strikeout and does have some power. So Burrell on second, Estrada on first. And the Phillies up 5 with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th. Little ground ball to Sanchez. Ray will go across the way to Franco, and that will retire the side. But a huge inning, 2 runs on 4 hits. The Phils have left on 4 in total, and they now lead as we head to the 7th, 5-0. So Surhoff, Jones, and Sanchez to face Person here in the 7th. BJ is 0 for 2. Ground ball over the mound. Rollins running in, throws to first, and Surhoff is retired. So here's Andruw Jones. He's 0 for 2 with the strikeout. So I guess after talking this through, I understand where that person is coming from, which just goes to show that after 5 years of doing this on a mostly regular basis, I'm just coming into my own. Which means it's probably time to retire. Andruw Jones is struck out. He's 0 for 2. Got him. That's 7 for Person. 2-2 the count. Got him looking. That'll bring up Sanchez. 2 out. Ray is 0 for 2. So line drive to left. Burrell makes the catch, and it's stretch time. 5-0 Phils. So top of the lineup to face Maddux here in the bottom of the 7th. Greg, 87 pitches through 27 batters. 6 innings, 11 hits, the 2 homers. All 5 runs earned, and he struck out 5. To change the subject, Big Dave listened to the D2D earlier today. He had a fun time interviewing Mr. Gardner. It's cost you a small fortune. It's cost me a small fortune, too. Dave, it was interesting because he really wasn't comfortable for any part of that. But I had a good time interviewing him. Pitch to Rollins. There's a ground ball to third. And you're welcome, by the way. Over to Franco for the out. Here's Glanville. Doug is 1 for 3. A single, a run scored, and grounded into a double play. Maddux winds and deals. Struck him out. That's 6 for Greg. A 1-2 changeup got him looking. Brings up Abreu, who's 1 for 3. Got him, and Maddux is fan 7. So right down Broadway, again, Greg could thread any kind of needle with a baseball. After 7, 5-0 Phils. So Baco, Maddox's spot, and Giles to face Person, who has given me the fatigue warning with nobody out here to start the 8th. Person's thrown a 3-hitter. Baco is 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Ground ball, Anderson behind the bag, over to Lee for the out. I didn't finish the story about Elin Olaf. Maddox 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Oh, by the way, Elin just has a golden voice. I think the best voice I've heard out there doing these games. And it got him a job right around the time of the pandemic doing high school sports in Wyoming, I think it was. Volleyball and some football and some basketball. He's really, really good. Pitch to Keith Lockhart is going to pinch hit. So down 5 runs. With 1 out in the 8th. That's it for Maddox. Lockhart as a pinch hitter, 156, a homer and 4 RBI. Overall, 179, 2 homers and 11 RBI. Pitch to Lockhart. There's a small ground ball to Anderson. Person's going to the bag to cover, and Robert will beat Lockhart there for the out. 2 away for Giles. Person throwing a gem. 27 batters deep, 106 pitches, 7 2/3, 3 hits, a walk and 7 strikeouts. Giles 0 for 3 with a strikeout. We'll try to give Person a chance for the shutout. He is not due to bat in the 8th. Pitch to Giles. Marcus lines one to Anderson, and that will retire the side. Rudy Saines coming in, bottom of the 8th, 5-0 Phils. When is a 30 for 30 on Retro Sports Network coming out? God. I think yesterday, by the way, Saines coming over on August 31st from the Padres, has no record and no ERA. His 5th appearance, 3 1/3 innings. He's 32 years old. Slider at 92 and a ground ball plus pitcher. The last time out was the 9th, so that would have been last Sunday against the Cubs. He faced a batter and walked him. So 3 1/3 since coming over, 2 hits, a walk, and 7 strikeouts. I think yesterday was the longest stream I'd ever done. 3 hours and 54 seconds. Rowan, by the way, 1 for 3, a single, an RBI, and a run scored. Rudy winds and deals. Struck him out. An 0-2 fastball swung on and missed. Marlon Anderson, 2 for 3. He has singled twice, scored, and struck out. I'd rather it be a 30 for 30, Dave, than the old VH1 behind the music. You see Gardner going on camera and said, Chuck, it was such a douchebag. Such a douchebag. Ground ball to Giles. Marcus behind the bag, throws to first for the out. 2 away for Pat Burrell, who is 1 for 3. Pat is singled. Saines. Clean inning so far. It'll be Franco, who's had himself a day. Chipper Jones and Brian Jordan for the Braves in the 9th. Fly ball left field. B.J. Surhoff will let that one go in the stands, and somebody from Wilmington, Delaware, made that catch. The real pros, the people that do, let's say, the voiceovers you hear in commercials and all that, literally can time things in their head down to tenths of seconds. I don't know if Mike is still with us, but I could hear him saying to somebody, I need 15 and a half seconds. And those people can give you, to the 10th of a second, 15 and a half. It's absolutely amazing. Burrell has a 2-2 count. Ground ball to Giles. Marcus in on the plastic. Burrell's running, and he is in there. He's safe. He beat it out. on the bang banger. So that's the 12th hit for the Phils. Here's Travis Lee. He has singled. Hit his 28th of the replay. Is now driven in 83. Baco and Science have a word. Travis, ground ball up the middle. Sanchez takes it to the bag himself, and that will retire the side. No runs, a hit. The Phils have left on 5. We go to the 9th. The Braves need 5 to tie and 6 to go ahead. So Franco, Chipper Jones, and Brian Jordan to face Robert Person, who's going to try to get the shutout. Franco is 2 for 3. Julio has singled twice and struck out. And Dave Martinez is going to pinch hit. Davey as a pinch hitter, 188 and 2 RBI. Hitting 242 overall, 2 homers and 10 RBI. To short, Rollins. To Lee, 1 out. Chipper Jones is 0 for 2, a walk and a strikeout. Fly ball, left center field. There goes the shutout. That ball is gone. So a home run in the left center field, and Chipper is taking a long time to roll the bases. His 26 on the season, and it's a 5-1 ball game. And that'll bring up Brian Jordan. Chipper got all of that one. The wind is kind of negligent, 70 degrees now. And in the chat, the Philly fans go, freaking Larry. Yes. So here's Jordan, 1 for 3. And keep an eye on Person. He's only allowed the 4 hits. Jordan has a single. Fly ball, center field. Glanville, 2 out. For Surhoff, who is 0 for 3. So the Phils trying to win their 75th of 2001. Person deals. Last chance saloon. Ground ball to Person. Underhands it to Lee. And a big win for the Phillies. They win it by the score of 5-1. 5 runs, 12 hits, no errors for the Phillies. A run on 4 hits and an error for Atlanta. It took 2 hours and 44 fake minutes to play it. The Braves leave on 4. The Phillies only left on 5. And Mr. Person's going to be your digital dice player of the game. He goes to 13 and 10, a complete game 4 hitter. The solo homer by Chipper Jones, the only blemish. In the 9th, a walk and 7 strikeouts. Maddox, 7 innings, 11 hits, 5 runs all earned. He gave up 2 homers and struck out 7. Rudy Science, I've pronounced that name differently every time. Gave a lot of strikeout and a hit through his inning. So let's get this is only National League Baseball today on September 17th. I don't know why, if that was the case really on the schedule or what. So just 5 other games on the schedule. The Mets beat the Pirates 4-1. Al Leiter 6-11. Richie 5-16. Armando Benitez picks up his 33 save, and the Pirates make 4 errors. No, I don't have to pee right off the bat this time. I started this broadcast going through the games of the 9th. Montreal beats Florida 4-2. You're welcome, Dave. Javi Vasquez 14-9. Acevedo 1-2. Bloom 2 for 3. His 9th of the year and drives in 2. Jim Edmonds 4 for 4. His 32nd drives in 2. Albert Pujols 100 RBI in his rookie year. Cardinals outlast the Brewers 9-8. Curtis Leskanic takes a loss 2-7. Steve Klein goes to 6-2. Arizona bolstering their wild card chances. They beat Colorado 9-3. Randy Johnson, a 20-game winner. Danny Nagel falls to 10-9. Bell 1 for 3, his 12th of the year, and walking twice. Dodgers behind 10 strikeouts from Kevin Brown. They beat the Pods in 10, 3-2. Shaw gets the win 5-6. Nunez 1-5. So we close the week tomorrow with, who did I pick? Right now, it is Houston and San Francisco, because we haven't had the Astros on very much. And I think, as I'm looking around, we're not going to do the Braves again. We do the Braves next Wednesday when they play the Mets. Yep, we'll do that. Houston and the Giants tomorrow, noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. Ron Juckett, thank you so much for watching. And again, the new episode of Digital Dice is out. We talk with Dave Gardner. Oh, thank you very much, John. I'll read it. Love the podcast. Listen to it with your morning coffee. What we've achieved is inspiring and entertaining. Thank you so much. And it's a very hard combination to accomplish. And yes, the bromance continues. All right, it'll be Houston to San Francisco from Pac Bell tomorrow. We'll talk to you for that. So long, everybody.